Hello, everyone, and welcome to the St. Genevieve at Park Hill Central District Championship game. I'm Trevor Drury here with Whale and Kemper for tonight.
What is up, everybody? And I don't know about if you guys are very informed, but I am psyched for tonight's game because last time these two teams met up, it ended in a one-point game. It was an 8-7 final, and the Rebels did come out on top. It was a very well-fought match. Both teams, you could tell, wanted to win, and just an interesting game to watch all the way through.
Yes, it was. It looked like St. Gen earlier in that first game had some penalties that came back to bite them a little bit, but it seemed like last week the Dragons were ready coming into this week. They didn't have many penalties against Kennett, came out with the win, and I'm anxious to see what they'll do this week.
Some of the people to watch out for tonight. One player for the Dragons, Luke Brewster. Keep an eye on him. He has 94 carries for a total of 698 yards so far this year. Dude is an absolute monster out on the field. He can make anybody look stupid once he gets to the open field, and he will take off. He's got the speed behind it.
Yeah, Luke comes out every week and proves himself, shows that speed, the agility that he has, and he's just an athlete out there on the field.
Another guy you could watch out for is Dalton Giesler on defense. He is one of the leading defensive players in tackles right now. I believe it is him and Levi Gons. Yes, it is him and Levi Gons. Levi has 156 tackles on the year, and Dalton has 133 tackles on the year. So right now they are kind of the heart and soul of our defense. And we're going to need a strong defense to come out against the Rebels.
And it looks like the Dragons and the Rebels are out there for the coin toss. Looks like the captains for the Dragons tonight are number 5, Dalton Giesler, number 4, Brandon Henson, number 54, Levi Gons, and number 9, Blake Moore. For the Rebels, we have number 4, Jace Bland, number 38, Jake Glenn, number 72, Holden Mayberry, and number 81, Dallas Coleman.
Notice how the Dragons have all seniors out there. Kind of a nice thing to see, as this is a very big game for their season. Could possibly be the last game, but you don't want it to be. A lot of emotions probably going on tonight. So we have about 2 minutes until the game gets started here. Looks like Central has won the toss and they defer the second.
The bar usually goes up further whenever he talks, and it's not going very far.
Me? Central is kicking off to start this game. Which means the Dragons will receive.
So it looks like you will see the Dragon offense out here early.
That's good for us. We want to get that early jump, start out strong. Nothing wrong with getting ahead of the team early in the game. Back to receive for the Dragons, we have number 21, Logan Reinhardt, and number 16, Luke Brewster. Both of them are very fast, very strong individuals that you're going to want to watch out for. Looks like
District title time on the Parkland Sports Leader KFMO.
kicking off for the Potosi Rebels, Central Rebels. We have Garrett Winkler.
Had a great ball game back in week 5. Central won it by 1 point.
Here we are about to get this game underway.
My name is Jason Lyron, the coach Stan Leeds, alongside Matt Sharp at the sidelines, having the guys on the providing the video.
Players out there looking excited to start off this game. The kick, and the game is underway, your district championship.
Looks like number 21, Logan Reinhardt, will return as he gets up the middle and is stopped. Pretty good return to start the game off.
Not bad, not bad. I mean, I know our St. John's pass game has been very strong this year, so you know that they can make up yards when they have to. Kind of expecting we've been using a spread offense, more of a spread out offense on the field lately. Wondering if they changed that, because I know last game they were having some trouble at one point and they went to that more close quarter backfield and gave the ball to Isaac Boyd a lot, and he just powered through everything. Looks like we're going with the spread offense.
Snap goes to Henson, hands off to Brewster. Brewster gets it to the outside and gains about 5 or 6 yards on the play to start it off.
Luke Brewster looked like he broke at least one tackle there and almost got out of 2. Getting close to that sideline, though, you got to start. It gets a little harder to break those tackles because you're easily pushed out of bounds. Great run by Brewster, though. Seeing a lot more people on the line in this game than we usually do.
Yeah, you're right on that. Looks like they're wanting to get more blocks for Luke Brewster out there. As Brewster gains about another yard. It is now 3rd and 4 for the Dragons.
Notice Daniel Vaith is back out there. That's a nice thing to see. I know that he was battling with an injury not that long ago. Good to see him out on the field.
Henson gets the snap. Fake handoff to Brewster. Over to Reinhardt, and it's tipped and intercepted. And he is taken down by the Dragon defense.
Not a good start.
Not a good start, a little unlucky for the Dragons to start the game off. Kind of just tipped off his hands and right to the defender.
I believe that was Logan Reinhardt. It went right through his hands and just right to the defender. He was at the right place at the right time. Just a unlucky play for the Dragons. So that will give the Central Rebels the ball on, looks like the 13-yard line.
Looked like St. Genevieve is going to take a timeout. Looks like coaches might want to cool their players down a little bit after that offensive possession.
I don't know if you can see it on the camera here, but we had a wide receiver way down here on our sideline, and he was just wide open. They had nobody lined up against him, and looked like the defense was falling asleep. Coach had to call a timeout because it would have been an easy touchdown for the Rebels. Dragons are really going to have to pick up this game so far. We have not seen, looks like they're sleeping. I mean, Luke Brewster had a good run to start it off and it looked good, but then we had that interception to turn things around. And then their first play on defense, they left this guy standing out here, just completely uncovered. Forcing coach to call timeout.
And looks like the Dragons almost jumped there. Quarterback gets the snap and hands it off, and the Dragons stop him. Like there was a gain of 2 on the play. Be 2nd and 8 now for the Rebels. We have 10 minutes left in the first quarter.
Rebels line up in that two-back setup.
Rebels have a guy in motion. Get it, hand it off again, and is stuffed by the Dragons.
Isaac Boyd just exploded through that line, and he had that running back wrapped up right whenever he had the ball. Isaac Boyd, he's one of those guys that you can rely on defense too. He, at the beginning of the year, he showed a lot of non-discipline. He was jumping off the line a lot. But coming through the year, he's really grown up a lot. Making a lot of plays for the Dragons.
Rebels have a guy in motion again. Hand it off once again and is stopped once again. Looks like a gain of maybe 3 on the play. Be 4th down for the Rebels.
Think they'll go for it, or you think they'll go for a field goal?
Tough decision for the Rebels, but I have a feeling they're probably going to go for it, I would say. Early in the game, if they don't get it, that still puts the Dragons in not very good position to start their offense, so I'd say they would go for it.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to go for it.
Have a guy in motion. Hand it off once again. And is stopped.
Levi and Dalton both had him wrapped up. Those are the two guys I told you about earlier. They're kind of the big part of our defense, and just stopped him right there, forced a turnover. Now the Dragons do not have very good yardage to start this drive, so kind of anxious to see what comes out of this. See if Coach White has anything up his sleeve.
After that interception from the offense, it's always good to see your defense recuperate and make a stop on defense and get your offense back out there for the game.
Always nice to know you can rely on your defense. Oh. Dragons went back to that tight backfield, had more people on the line, just gave it to Luke Brewster. Didn't look too well there.
And it looked like Central should have had a penalty there. It looked like one guy was trying to run off the field, and the Dragons snapped it before he got off. So they should have got a penalty there for having too many guys out on the field.
Stay to that tight backfield.
Hand off to Brewster. Brewster cuts to the outside, cuts back in.
There is a flag on the field.
Kind of looked like Brewster may have fumbled it a little bit.
Well, he had like 5 guys on him. It wouldn't surprise me. Looks like holding. Holding on the Dragons. The Rebels have declined that penalty, so that'll make it 3rd and 9 for the Dragons.
3rd and 9 for the Dragons with 7:50 left in the first quarter. See if they can make something happen here. As they fake the handoff, Henson's rushed and is taken down.
Went for a pass there, and the line didn't hold long enough. Central's defensive line just attacked right through our offensive line, and they got to Henson way too fast. Our line's going to have to hold stronger the rest of this game. We're going to need a stronger offense.
And this is a scary situation for any punter. I'm sure Reinhardt's back there kind of wanting to get this off pretty quick. And he does well with the pressure.
Oh.
As Central tries returning it, and Gabe Grimminger is there to make the stop. And there we go again with Grimminger this week, getting himself in there on the plays, not afraid to get the hits and get hit back.
That ball had a real high hop off the kick, or after it hit the ground, and Gabe was just standing there like daring him to pick it up, and he did. Gabe was right on him. Let's see if our defense can hold as strong as they did last time.
Central prepares to get the snap. They have a guy in motion, and they hand the ball off, and they are stopped by the Dragon defense.
That's what I like to see. Dragon defense is going strong. Our offense hasn't been doing too well, but our defense so far is looking great. That'll make it 2nd and 7, 2nd and 8 for the Central Rebels.
Have a guy in motion. Fake handoff, quarterback pulls it, and is tripped up. Looks like he will get the first down.
Gabe Grimminger with the trip there. Gabe did a good job of shedding his blocker there. You saw Gabe was kind of the only guy there. That quarterback had a wide open lane, and Gabe tripped him up barely on the end there. It's a good thing he did too, because that would not have been good for our defense.
Rebels guy in motion, hands it off again, and is taken down by the Dragon defensive line.
Whole horde of Dragons there.
That defensive line is doing a great job tonight of stopping that run, going up the middle.
Levi Gons was in on that too.
Central coming back out of the huddle. Ten seconds on the play clock. Snap it. Handoff once again, and it's taken down by the Dragons once again. Looked like maybe a loss of a yard on the play.
Great play by the Dragons. Their defensive line has shown some hustle this game so far. Besides one play, they have basically just shut down the run game for Rebels. Hopefully they can keep this up the whole game.
Rebels coming back out. Snap. Fake handoff. Getting rushed. Tripped up a little bit, and Giesler almost has him as the ball is just thrown up and knocked away by Luke Brewster.
Dalton Giesler rushing the backfield there. Dalton's got some speed.
Yeah, great job by Giesler to get right through that line.
For a big guy like Dalton, he has got some speed. Like, he doesn't look like it, but he is a fast guy. Surprises the heck out of almost everybody he shows.
Yeah, you're right. So now it'll be 4th and 9 for the Rebels, as they are going to go for it. Rebels in shotgun. Quarterback drops back, being rushed. Little screen play. And they are in there for a touchdown. Good play call by the Rebels. Get the whole line coming after your quarterback. Nice little screen pass. You're almost guaranteed a lot of yards on those kind of plays. So Central Rebels are on the board first, 6-0, with 4 minutes and 40 seconds left in the first quarter. And their kick is good. It is now 7-0. Rebels on top.
Well, that's 2 drives in a row that have been completely in St. John's red zone. So hopefully we can get a better drive out of the red zone and see what we can do without that worry of the safety. Maybe that'll change things, give us a chance to spread out our offense and do the passing game like we usually do. See what can come out of it.
Yeah, St. John really needs to get their offense moving here and get things rolling for them. Get them out of the red zone, not put so much pressure on their defense. That'll be one of the keys to the game for the Dragons.
We have Luke Brewster and Logan Reinhardt back to receive again. Not really a surprise there, as both of them are super fast and super strong. Definitely the guys I would have out there to run.
And the Rebels will have number 10, Garrett Winkler, to kick for them as the kick goes to 21, Logan Reinhardt. It looked like he almost broke away a little bit on the return.
Logan kind of ran into his defender there and slowed him down. Kind of want to know what would happen if he didn't bump into him like that, but he almost got out anyways. Not a bad run. Dragons will get the ball on 27-yard line. About the same spot as the last time.
Yeah, about the same spot as that interception happened. Hopefully we don't see that again. Henson gets the snap, hands off to Brewster. Brewster takes off to his left and is tripped up. Looks like a gain of about 4 on the play.
Dragons are kind of spreading out their offense a little more, which is good to see. Still have a lot of people on the line, though.
Henson hands it off
Oh,
to
Luke.
Brewster, who is still going and gets nailed by number 2, Will Hopkins. Looked like Brewster was going to break out of there a little bit, and then Hopkins came in and stopped him. It is now 3rd and 7 for the Dragons.
Really need a first down here.
This offense changing things up a little bit. Henson gets the snap, rolls out to his left, looking for the receiver, and he's going to take it himself.
Did he get it? No, looks like he's just short of that first down.
And he will be just short.
Good choice by Henson to keep it and run. I was looking downfield, and it looked like there was nobody downfield that was open. Henson just took it to the sideline, tried to get the first down. Looks like he was a yard off.
Looks like St. John is going to go for it. It is a 4th and 1 situation, and we're going to see that biggie formation that we've seen the past couple of weeks.
Isaac Boyd in the backfield. Keep an eye on him.
As they hand it off to Brewster, who is stopped.
Luke Brewster had the ball, and it looked like number 4, Jace Bland, on the stop. That'll give the Rebels good yardage again for their offense.
Yeah, as this is the 3rd drive in a row for the Rebels that they have been in Dragon territory on the other side of that 50.
Big defensive game so far. Not much offense.
Rebels have a guy in motion. Gets the snap up the middle. And taken down.
Looks like it was Dalton Giesler got the wrap up there, and then half the Dragons defense decided to come and help out.
And it'll be a gain of 6 on the play. Rebels coming back. Gets the snap, looking to pass, going for it all. It passes too long. Looked like the intended receiver was number 23, Nick Haney.
Blake Moore was the defender on that, and it looked like he thought the wide receiver was going to go out further. He didn't look up. He looked up pretty late. Whenever he did, that wide receiver was already up trying to catch the ball. He's going to need to watch the ball a little more. It's getting kind of close.
Rebels get the snap, handed off once again.
Oh.
And that will be enough for a first down and a little more for the Rebels. It's getting very dangerous for the Dragon defense.
Yeah, the Rebels are starting to run all over them. After that first drive, defense has not looked as great. Looks like the Rebels have a lineman out there kind of hobbling around. I know they've been dealing with a whole bunch of injuries on their team.
And the Rebels hand it off once again. And a gain of, looks like 5 on the play.
Rebels in more of a spread out offense.
And the quarterback keeps it up the middle and is taken down.
Rebels, our offensive line is doing a much better job of holding our defensive line than they were that first drive, and it's showing. They're starting to gain a lot of yards on the run.
Rebels get the snap, handed off again, up the middle.
Stop just short of the goal line. Looks like 2nd and 2. And hands off up the middle. It looks like they stopped him just short.
And that'll be the end of the quarter.
If you're trying to hear me, that's not going to do anything. It's these. That's just for us hearing each other.
8 overtimes later.
Sorry.
Whoever wins goes north. I would assume to Miller Career, who plays at Gateway Tech. Gateway Tech is not too bad. But Sean is that one.
Sorry about all the silence right now.
I think no matter
Having a little technical difficulties. That's not going to do anything for sound. It's these.
I know, but these are also plugged in.
Yeah, that's just for us to hear each other.
yeah, they only have 7 teams up there. That's what I was telling Kimball. So no matter who wins out of our district, they will never host that next round until they get
Well,
in.
at the end of the first, at the end of the first quarter.
It looks like Central is in there for a touchdown. We apologize for not getting that on video or talking while that was going on. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties here.
13-0 Central leads. Again, Coach, the offensive line for Rebels getting that big push off the middle.
And the kick is good for the Central Rebels. It's now 14-0. Rebels on top with 11:56 left in the half.
Coming right out of the half, and Rebels had great yardage. You cannot hear me.
Looks like the Dragon offense is going to need to get something going.
Here, hold on.
The defense has played a real big role in this game so far, but with the position the Rebels are getting on offense, it's hard to hold them back.
Got number 21, Logan Reinhardt, and number 16, Luke Brewster, back to receive.
Don't get me started, I like it. Saw a lot of things I had never seen.
Yeah. So far, Casey gets seriously
Yes. You know if he gets that mad.
Like the other one, wherever it is.
Call out of this.
Knuckleball.
40. 7.
And it looks like Dragons return it. Pretty good field position to start the offensive drive. And Henson hands it off to Brewster. Good spin, trying to get some extra yards. Looks like a gain of about 5 on the play.
Try that one. That one better? No. What in the world? Can you hear me?
Barely. And another handoff goes to Brewster. Trying to fight his way for that first down. Looks like he's going to be just short of it.
Can you hear me now? How about now? Yep, there we go. All right. Sorry about all that, guys. Couldn't get the mics to really work.
So now we're back. Have my partner back.
What's up, guys?
Everything is good now. We are sorry if you couldn't hear him and it sounded like I was talking to myself. We got it fixed. Handoff goes to number 54, Levi Gons.
Wow. He just powers through the line every time.
That's a good way to get a first down. So the Dragons are starting to get things rolling on offense. That's always good to see.
That's what we need. We're down 14-0 right now.
Another handoff to Brewster, cutting it up, and he is breaking
away.
Oh,
he's gone.
He is going to be gone. As
Nobody's catching him.
And
Luke
he is
Brewster,
in
everybody.
there for a Dragon touchdown. Great drive by the Dragon offense.
That was a 55-yard run by Luke, and once he gets his lane open, there's nobody catching him. He's gone. The dude's a monster. Luke Brewster.
It's now 14-6. Rebels still on top with 10 minutes and 25 seconds left in the first half. We'll have number 2, Chad Dunsey, kicking for the Dragons.
Luke Brewster so far this year, before this game, he had 94 carries for 698 yards. That's how you know he's a monster, and that will.
And now we got Brewster on the year, over 700 yards. That's a pretty good year for a junior.
He's got 9 touchdowns now the whole year. Definitely one of the stars of the St. John team.
And now we will see St. John kick off for the first time in this game.
That drive, they gave the ball to Levi Gons, I guess, to try to stir up something. And he powered through that line, and he definitely did stir up something. You could tell that he hit that defense hard, maybe make him second guess a little bit, because Levi is a big guy, and he can hit hard. I know from experience from my freshman days when I played football. He brings some pain. We got number 2, Chad Dunsey, back to kick.
Chad Dunsey with a great kickoff. It looks like it went to number 23, Nick Haney, who's trying to break to the outside. And it looks like there was a fumble on the play.
Dragons get the ball.
And
what
the
a change.
Dragons get the ball.
What a play. Big turn of events for the Dragons. Down 14-0, score a touchdown, and receive a fumble off the kick. This is the change in momentum we definitely needed.
The change in momentum with 10:15 left in the first half. This is going to be an exciting game from here on out, I have a feeling.
You guys know what it was, right? It was the fact that you can hear me now.
I think it was
That's
the
what it
mic
was.
change.
It's once we got that figured out, we started killing.
Handoff to Brewster, up the middle. He's
keep
still
pushing.
going.
With the help of his linemen, just pushed through. Looks like he gained about 7 or 8 yards, maybe 9.
Yeah, maybe even 9. Brewster, as small as he is, he's much stronger than you would think he is. As the Dragons are now in their biggie formation once again. Henson gets the snap, hands off to the Gons,
Oh,
who powers his way for a first down.
Levi the tank.
Dragons now on the 20-yard line in Rebel territory. This is always what you want to see from your offense.
Keep it going. We have the momentum on our side. Don't stop.
Yeah, it seems like this second quarter things had really changed after that second Rebel touchdown. Dragon offense has really been moving now.
Staying in that close formation.
Henson pitches it out to Brewster. Brewster cuts back in and is taken down.
Just continues to gain yards. You cannot stop that guy.
Looks like that biggie formation is really working out for the Dragons now. Be 2nd and 4 for the Dragons.
The offensive line has done a really good job, too, this drive. They've been holding their ground way better than they have the other two drives.
Hand off to number 54, Levi Gons once again. Looks like a gain of 2 on the play. 3rd and 2 for the Dragons. This will be big for St. Genevieve.
Have both Levi and Isaac back to the running back spot. Those are both some pretty powerful guys that can power through that line. Gives it
Hand
to Levi.
off to Gons. Gets to the
Stiff arm.
outside
Oh.
and is taken down, but he will get the first down.
Tackled by Nick Haney.
Levi had one guy to beat. Couldn't get there, but if he would have had him, that would have been another Dragon touchdown. He had no one after that.
So it is 1st and goal for the Dragons here.
Hand off to Brewster, cuts it up the middle. Ooh, and is taken down pretty hard. Brewster's just taking a beating tonight. Looks like it is 2nd goal for the Dragons. Looks like they're at the 3-yard line.
This is an exciting game so far.
Big play up the middle.
No, looks like he got tackled by the whole Rebels line. It's kind of what it takes to take down Levi.
Yeah, you almost need the whole team to take him down. Looks like the Dragons did get it. They're at the 2-yard line now, it looks like.
1 yard at a time.
Hand it off to Brewster. Cuts it
He
up,
got
and
there.
he is in there for a Dragon touchdown. It is now 13-14. Rebels still on top.
Now the question is, do you go for the field goal to tie it or go for 2 to take the lead while you got the momentum on your side?
You know, it's still early in the game. I would just take the field goal if I were them, just to tie things up.
Looks like they're going for the field goal.
I don't think they're really in a situation where they need to go for 2 yet.
I would. Then again, I go big.
Chad Dunsey gets the kick. It's good. And just like that, it's a brand new ball game.
Well, my day just got a lot better.
That is very exciting to see as you see the Dragons come all the way back from a 14-0 deficit.
I'm going to take this time real quick to give a shout out to our cross country team out at state right now. I believe we have 4 boys and 2 girls out at state in Jefferson City. They left today, had a great send-off from our good St. John High School.
So we wish them the best of luck out there. Hope you guys make St. John proud, as you usually do.
We're already proud. SGHS. Looks like we had Chad Dunsey back to kick again.
Another good kick for Chad Dunsey.
Ooh,
And taken down.
looks like number 50, Tyler Jenkins on the tackle. That is a sophomore underclassman getting some play time and deserving it.
So now we'll see the Dragon defense out there. Got a little more cushion to give up a little more yards if they have to. Kind of a little more comfortable now, I would say. Rebels have a guy motion fake the handoff. Quarterback keeps it and is taken
Ooh.
down. It will be a big loss of yards for the Rebels.
Big hit. Couldn't see who that was on the hit.
It
but
looked like that might have been Gabe Grimminger coming in there to
Gabe.
finish it.
Little Gabe. Back in the punch.
Gabe, as small as he is, I talked to him today at school, and he was saying how he was ready for this game, and he was just wanting to hit someone.
Well, he did. Good job, Gabe. Good to see. Fakes a
Motion.
handoff back for a pass.
And that'll be close,
Ooh.
and it is caught
Oh,
by the Rebels.
Flag on the play in the backfield.
That was a great catch by the receiver for the Rebels. We'll see what this flag is.
Possibly an illegal man downfield. Illegal man downfield.
Big break for the Dragons.
Yeah, that'll move it back.
That would have been a big game for the Rebels. Something the Dragons did not need.
Great pass by this Rebels quarterback there. That wide receiver had two guys on him, and he put it in the perfect spot. But sadly, it got brought back. Sadly for them, not for us.
Bland gets the snap,
Oh, he's wide open.
and Richardson's going to have the first down for the Rebels. And
There
another
is a-
flag.
That one is probably on the Dragons, as he was clearly out of bounds, and they continue to take him all the way to the ground. So, after that big play that got brought back, they still get that first down.
And the penalty will be on the Dragons.
Looks like a face mask.
And that'll put the Rebels in good field position to have a 1st and 10 situation.
Well, we've done a good job stopping the run so far.
Looks like that pass game is now giving the Dragons some trouble.
One good thing about our defense is they have proven earlier in this game that they can stop it in the red zone. Oh, wide open hole.
And that will be another Rebel touchdown. So it's now 20-14 with 6 minutes left in the first half. And he had a wide open hole to run through.
And 21-14.
As the Rebels do complete that extra point.
Time for the Dragons to come back.
This is already a very high-scoring first half. Didn't expect this from the two teams. I expected the defense to be more locked down on both sides, and I expect this to be very low-scoring tonight.
Expected it a lot like last game, where it was a 1-point game. This is a close game, but last game was only 8-7. Not much scoring. We've already surpassed that. great turnout for the Dragons crowd tonight. Noticing a lot of people out there. Look at them. They're like lined along the fence all over down there.
It's always good to see it in an away game. Have a lot of fan support.
We even have fans on this side over here. Look at that. Great turnout.
Central kicking off. Looks like it's going to go back to Logan Reinhardt, who is tripped up.
Notice they've been keeping the ball away from Luke Brewster back there.
Yeah, Luke has proven to be very deadly back there this year. So a lot of teams try keeping it away from him as he's just so agile. He gets out of a lot of tackles.
Yeah, if you remember back at the Valley game, he took the first one all the way back. That was a sight to see.
Yeah, I don't think many people expected that one.
If you want to, I mean, you can go to our YouTube page, look it up, and listen to Trevor's reaction to it. That was pretty entertaining, too.
It was pretty exciting.
I was going to say something, but I thought Trevor had it pretty well down.
Looked like handed off right up the middle. Looked like that was number 54, Levi Gons, who took it up the middle. Gained about 3 on the play.
Levi has never really been a running back until late in this year. And he's really the guy that you just give the ball to and let him hit whoever he wants.
Yeah, they added that biggie formation late in the season, and it's really worked out for him. And Levi and Isaac do a great job of holding on to the ball, not making many turnovers. You'd think a big guy wouldn't hold on to the ball as well because they're not used to running it, but they do a great job at it, and it helps the Dragon offense out a lot.
Well, unlike Levi, Isaac actually has had a lot of experience as running back. I believe all through middle school and his freshman year, he was the running back for the Dragons team. And there is a flag.
It will be on the Rebels.
Sweet.
An encroachment on Central. It's now will be 3rd and 1 for St. Genevieve. Hand off to Brewster once again, up the middle, and another flag on the play as Brewster is taken
fumble.
down, and it looks like a fumble on the play.
Nope.
Central said they had it,
Oh, illegal hit on Central.
and the refs are going to call an illegal hit on Central. Wow.
Fans don't sound too happy over here.
Yeah, it's different being on a different side. You're used to having your fans in front of you. Now, this week we have the Rebel fans in front of us, just a different perspective. That would be a big gain for the Dragons, as they now cross the 50-yard line. They just approached Rebel territory as they hand it off to Brewster again, who gets out of the tackles and gains about 1 or 2 on the play. Looked like Brewster got no gain on the play. 2nd and 10 for the Dragons. We have 4 minutes left in the first half. Looking to pass.
Oh, good catch.
Down to Giesler, and he will be in there for a touchdown, but there is a flag on the play. We will see who it is on. And it will be on the Dragons. Not a good break for the Dragons.
It always seems to be when Dalton gets the ball and makes the big plays that there is a penalty. I'm sorry, Dalton.
And just like that, get a big gain. And now they're moving right back. That's not something you want to see.
That was a great catch by Dalton Giesler, though.
Hinson running the play call in. As the Dragons get set back up in the Biggie formation. Hand off to Brewster. Brewster
he's on the
cutting up.
outside. Ooh.
And it looks like he'll be stopped. Good gain for Brewster. Got like 4 or 5 on the play. 3.5 minutes left in the first half as the clock is still winding down.
Gonna need a big play here.
Dragons looking to the sideline.
Timeout.
And they will call a timeout.
That's their second time out of the half. So I'm going to go ahead and take this time to give a shout out to Richie Zellner. He is in Indianapolis right now. He was a St. John alumni. He played baseball. He went to SEMO after high school and played baseball on their team for 4 years. And then his senior year, he ended up being he ended up being a punter on the football team for SEMO. Complete athlete. And if you are listening, Coach Mark Vogt and Adam Sherry asked me to give you this shout out. So text them a thank you.
Dragons call a timeout with 3 minutes left in the first half. Rebels still up 21-14 if you're just joining us. Looks like the Rebels are coming out back onto the field. It is 3rd and 10 for St. Genevieve. Dragons in the huddle, getting their play. Hinson gets down, gets the snap. Hand off to Brewster. Hard up the middle, and he is stopped.
He got hit pretty hard, too. And that central defenseman is bumped. Looks like number 18. Evan Sidebottom.
4th and 9 for the Dragons. And it looks like the Dragons will punt it.
They do that sneaky punt a lot.
And the punt is into the end zone. So Rebels will get the ball at the 20-yard line.
Going to need our St. John defense to get a stop like they did the first drive of the game. And our cameraman, Troy Johnson, is starving. Looks like Tyrese Wells on the carry. Good gain. Gain of about 6 yards. Brought down by Wade Hahn. For those of you tuning in at halftime, we will have an interview with Coach Coleman to talk about the upcoming basketball season. I believe Trevor will be handling that.
Should be an interesting interview.
So it is 3rd and 2 for the Central Rebels.
Central has a guy in motion. Handoff up the middle. And they will have the first down.
Looks like Central has called a timeout.
And Central's running game just little by little gaining about 4 yards per run, seems like. Just getting first downs and moving those chains slowly but surely. Central calls a timeout with 1:13 left in the first half, as they are up by 1 touchdown over the Dragons.
Rebels are lined up and it trips right. Offense is spreading out.
Man in motion. Quarterback keeps it up the middle, cuts it back to the outside, and runs out of bounds.
They have a very big quarterback, too. He's kind of a hard guy to bring down.
Now 2nd and 3 for the Rebels. Central coming back out, preparing for the snap. Bland drops back, looking to pass, going for it all. And it's intercepted by number 4, Brandon Henson, who is still going.
He takes off.
And he wants it all. And he is pushed out of bounds. Great job by Brandon Henson, and he is fired up after that interception.
It looks like the quarterback there just kind of went for a Hail Mary, I guess, and didn't really look where he was throwing it. And Henson was just standing there with nobody around him waiting for the ball to come down. Looked like he was throwing the ball to Henson.
Yeah, I guess maybe it came out of his hand a little weird because it was wobbling up there in the air pretty bad.
There is a flag on the play, so the ball will be moved back. So now we need the offense to capitalize here, tie this game up, and get another turnover and take the lead.
As that flag just moved the Dragons back further.
Looks like we're bound about the 42-yard line.
Henson under center. Dragons in the biggie formation once again. Drops back. Henson trying to escape pressure.
Throw it.
Cuts back.
Get out of it.
And is taken down. Sacked on the play.
Slow to get up, too. That is not good.
Henson looks like he's in some pain.
He got hit on the backside there. Probably might have just knocked the wind out of him. He got hit pretty hard. And he is down. Hope it's not nothing serious. Henson, he is a big player on this Dragons team. Sounds like it might be his hand.
Yeah, it looked like he might have been holding his wrist or his hand or something.
So for those of you tuning in to this, And the Valley game, they are up 13-7 right now. 12-7.
No, 13-12.
Oh, 13-12. I'm sorry. I ruined it all. In the second quarter,
And Henson is walking off the field.
means Chad Dunsey will come in as quarterback.
I would never guess.
Every game they play.
What a shock.
I'm new to St. John. I'm just kind of here for the ride. No one knows.
How much now? It's been changed once.
Oh my goodness, so much different. I'm walking in 37. 37.
And we have 30 seconds left in the first half.
33-7. Hey, Coach, how are you?
Be nice to make a good offensive drive or a good offensive play here. Get a touchdown right before the end of the half. Tie it up. Come out with a fresh start at the half.
I don't know. No, they didn't take a timeout, so they didn't call it.
Clock is running.
And then Dunsey hands it off to Brewster. Brewster getting to the outside and is taken down.
He did not get out of bounds.
The clock will still be running,
Timeout.
and the Dragons do call a timeout with 20 seconds left.
Really need a touchdown here.
The Dragons are in Rebel territory now, looking to score, get tied all back up before the half is over.
Dragons coming out of their little huddle. See if they got anything up their sleeve to get a touchdown right before the half here. Looks
So-
like we got Levi, Boyd, and Brewster in the backfield.
It looks like Henson is back out on the field. Getting the snap, drops back.
Oh,
Henson steps up, takes to the outside, still moving. Throwing it deep to Giesler.
did he get it? Oh,
It is no good.
Dalton had 3 people on him, and I still thought he was going to come down with it.
With 10 seconds left in the first half.
Got enough time for one more play.
Henson very elusive on that play. Didn't know how he got out of all of that.
Definitely know he's keeping an eye out after that last hit. Give the ball to Brewster.
Brewster runs up the middle.
Try to get a quick play before.
And those chains, as soon as they're set, they're going to start that clock again.
Oh, there was a jump.
And offside on Central, looked like.
Yeah, the horn sounded, and after that guy jumped, so there should still be time for us to make one more play. I didn't see any flags on the field, though. Dragons back out in their spread out offense.
2 seconds left.
Not 20.
Pressing a bunch of zeros. 0, 0. There you go.
2 seconds left.
He just keeps it.
Dragons will get one more play. Henson drops back over to Brewster.
Oh, he
Looking,
throws it.
goes
Dalton's
for
open.
Giesler
Oh.
and is batted down. Looks like Brewster, maybe with those gloves on, kind of hard to throw the ball.
So that'll bring us to the half. And we have Coach Coleman up here to talk about the basketball season. Trevor's going to give him an interview. Here you are, Coach.
Why, hello.
Hello, Coach. Thank you for joining us tonight.
No problem. My
So,
pleasure. How are you
Coach,
doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Good game here, other than we're losing by 7, but pretty good battle. I think our guys just not necessarily come out flat, but just didn't get the ball moving early enough and got a little behind.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see something different in the second half by them. So, Coach, new basketball season this year. So you guys won districts last year, I believe.
Yep,
And
we won districts
we
last
did.
year.
We did.
It's
Yes.
just weird doing an interview with, being part of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, what are your goals for this year?
Well, I mean, obviously you always got the same goals as, you want to win. We usually shoot for 20 games, something, just because we haven't done that yet. But obviously your conference, your district, things like that. I mean, every team is probably going to have those same goals, but I really just looking at what we have coming back with, what we lost and the JV guys. I really think our biggest goal is we have to kind of find ourselves, because I knew going into last year, I think what kind of team we would have and the guys and the scores and things that we would be really good at. But this year's a little different. I mean, we got a good core coming back, with yourself and Gabe and Dalton, the 3 starters. But after that, we've got a lot of different guys. I mean, I would say probably about 10 different guys that got some time last year as a sophomore, as a freshman, and who's going to fill the other spots and how well they're going to do. So for us as coaches, we sat down, and our goal, especially early on, is just to see what kind of team do we think we can have and what guys are going to step up.
And do you have any practice kind of oriented things this year that you're focusing on? Did you change anything up from the offense since last year or anything like that?
Well, not necessarily. We're going to run the same offense. It was the first year we ran it, as you know, and we loved it. I think that you guys really enjoyed it. And so we're going to stick with it. I think it's a great offense to have, and we've learned to do some things that I think that we'll tweak and be a little different for this group. I think we're going to need to kind of spread it out a little bit more as far as giving space for the guards to play. We don't necessarily have the big post player like we did in the past. We got good post players, but not a guy that can score with his back to the basket the way Morgan did. So we're hoping to kind of spread those posts out. That way that allows them a little more space of getting away from back to the basket and be a little more explosive driving, and also that'll help with our guards giving space to drive where those big guys aren't just, clogging up the middle. And then, the biggest thing is our defense. Our goal is to kind of pick the tempo up, get after it a little bit, cause some more havoc, trapping, little things like that. But, we got a long way to go to do that, and but I do think that's something that our guys are going to be good at.
So you said you're trying to pick up the tempo a little bit on defense this year. Is that due to the lack of size this year compared to what you had last year?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess in a way but really, I mean, we lost some strength, but Morgan was the only guy that was over 6'1". I mean, Zach Rhodes played big and was a strong kid, but he was, maybe 6'1", and then, Nate was a guard, and Anthony Rowe was, again, strength-wise, but not necessarily big. I just think that we got the tempo of the guys that can run up and down the floor. I mean, Dalton played last year, but I think he's good at that. He's a big that can move, and not wear out way Morgan probably would have. I mean, we got a new kid, Brandon Jury, that will play probably a little bit more like Morgan, but overall, our bigs are guys that can, I think, run the floor and not necessarily get out, lose a little bit of their skill because they get a little winded And then also, it's not that we had the guards last year to do this, but so now we're going to play a little to the guards' strength, in which you guys can get the ball out and go, and and not necessarily just to rely on maybe Gabe to bring the ball up, but I feel comfortable with most of our guards to rebound and bring it, which again will be a little more fast paced.
Let's talk about the leadership on the team a little bit. You lost 4 big seniors that were great leaders last year, and you have 2 returning seniors this year. So what kind of leadership is out there this year with some younger guys and not that many seniors?
Well, the seniors weren't. The one thing they weren't that I would say that they lacked of anything was their vocal leadership. Morgan tried to talk some, but again, maybe not the greatest vocal leader. Those guys, though, showed the way they played. And the best thing about them was their mentality of you never knew if we were losing, winning. Pretty calm, guys all together. Now I think with you and Dalton and Gabe really coming back. Gabe, was a sophomore last year. No, definitely doesn't play that way, but probably as a leadership role as a freshman and sophomore last year wasn't as vocal. I think this year you guys will be a little more vocal in the way that you lead and be able to talk through things. Those guys last year, they didn't really say much at all, which again was a good thing in a way. But I'm hoping you guys can take these young kids that we got and really become coaches, not just by what you do on the court physically and showing, but by teaching, talking through things. My goal is to be a coach. I won't sit down, but to maybe coach less, speaking, talking or yelling or whatever, it may be. Really, that's my goal, is to let you guys kind of take over more of the role of speaking as a leader.
And I believe we have a new freshman coach this year. So Coach A.J. Meyer, what does he have to bring to the team?
Well, I got a great coaching staff. First Coach Robinson, really, we've been competitive since I've been here, but Coach Robinson, I think, really brought us to another level because of the way he is with details and fundamentals, and I really don't think we would, be as good as we have been without him. So I give a lot of credit to him, and Coach Kraft was a great coach to do anything he asked. I mean, he was very organized, and we hated to lose him, but Coach Meyer coming in as he's got a little bit of experience. I mean, not in years-wise, but he, as a coach down at Valley, I think the last year or two, really had to kind of be almost a head coach with Coach Trimmer. Really let him, stand up and coach in varsity games. Coach Meyer talks about all the time about him watching tapes and stuff, and so he's really, as a freshman coach, he's really knowledgeable. Most of the time, your younger coaches at younger levels aren't as near as knowledgeable as what I think Coach Meyer is. And I also think he brings patience. I haven't seen, even watching him coach in the past and so far in practice, I think he's going to be really patient with the freshmen when they don't quite get something. He's really calm and collective and won't probably yell too much at them. And I think that as a freshman coach with new guys coming in, that's something he will bring.
And as a player, as myself, we have a lot of confidence in you coaches this year. But what kind of confidence do you have in those younger guys this year that are going to have to step up and fill some roles for the losses we've had last year?
Well, again, I think it will start with you three and being leaders, and probably you're the top 4 out of 5 scorers I think we had last year, or at least 3 out of 5 scorers that we had last year on the team. So I think the good thing about our young guys coming in is they're not going to be thrown into, hey, we need you to score 15 points. I think we've got that. I think we've got you 3 guys from the last year that started that will definitely carry the weight as far as the pressure of having to score, and so that'll be really good for those guys to step up and not feel the pressure. I think that the real question that I have for these guys is I see a really good thing, 1 or 2 things out of each one of them, and I'm not so sure I see a complete package out of all these guys, which is something that we have to work on. So we may be switching guys in and out a lot, because some of them may get us really good defense, some of them may give us the best shooting when we need it, a little more ball handling when we need it, maybe the size when we need it, and so forth. So, that's really, as coaches, that when we sit down and look at these young guys, that we're happy because we have you 3 back to carry the load and be good leaders. And then also we're going to have to see which guys fit in what position and what we're doing, and maybe when we do it. So that's why I said it's going to be an interesting beginning of the year to see how that works.
I'm trying to think of a.
Okay.
Okay.
I ramble quite a bit, don't I?
Yes, just
Yeah,
a little
I
bit,
do
but
that
that's
in
all right.
practice, I'm sure. Sometimes I do that on purpose to give you guys a break between drills. So, you know.
All right, let's go to the offseason a little bit. What was your main focus in the offseason to work on and just get the players ready? We had a lot of young guys coming in and working hard. So what was your main focus this year in the offseason?
Well, you know, I mean, I think every coach's focus is get a ball in their hand, get their kids at least shooting, you know, dribbling too, and you know, I thought we did a decent job of that, you know, for the most part. You know, I obviously every coach wishes their kids would put more time into a gym than what they do. Even the guy that shows up probably 99% of the time, that coach probably would wish he'd come in that extra time. But shooting is always a big key in the off season. But we really wanted to focus on, and we tried to do this in our league games, is just flat get after it on defense. And I'm sure you remember times where we were running kind of ragged, running all over the place. And I continue to say, it doesn't matter if we lose this game. It doesn't matter if you're dead in the third quarter and we can't finish strong in the summer. But we want to try to, play that pace and get after it and cause as much havoc. And so that was really our goal. And I think it paid off because I see the guys that were showing up already, that a few that we have in practice, you can already see it already happening. And the first time we scrimmaged today in practice, I saw a little bit of it, that we were continuing into a trap in the half court and just getting tips in our drills that normally we wouldn't get because we haven't really done that. But this summer that we did concentrate on doing that.
All right. I think that's all the questions I have for you right now, Coach.
Well, I appreciate you having me up here, and you guys do a great job. This is awesome. I hear nothing but positives about you guys doing these shows, and I enjoy coming up here and talking to anybody, but especially you, Trevor. It's always a joy to get to talk to Trev, and it was his birthday yesterday or 2 days ago, and so we wish you a late birthday, everybody out there.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate
All right,
that.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, so there you have it from Coach Coleman himself, and I am going to be signing off. I will be giving the mic to Troy Johnson for the second half. So me and him are switching spots. Here you are, Troy.
All right, so I guess I'm on now.
All right, welcome, Troy.
Welcome. Thank you.
As Waylon was saying, that was Coach Coleman himself, just giving everybody a little preview of what is in store for this basketball season, talking about the off season, everything that's gone into it, and what you have to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't here last year when you guys won districts, but I was here for a little bit. The basketball season was definitely fun to be a part of. If you didn't go to any games last year, I definitely recommend coming out to a few games this year. Definitely going to be an exciting season.
We have 4 minutes and 40 seconds left before halftime is over.
This seems like a really long halftime to me. I don't know why.
It does. I figured that interview would have taken up a little more time, but
Yeah, me and Waylon were talking back there. We were like, this is a long interview. I was like, he's probably just asking questions to take up time. But as you see, it looks like the Park Hills cheerleaders and maybe dance team performing together now. They are doing pretty good. You saw the two bands perform earlier during the interview. That was a pretty neat sight to see. Just kind of the Park Hills band and the St. John band kind of combine as one big one. Oh, that's cool. Is that a P or a C? Oh, CHS. I was like, what?
never seen something like that before.
That was kind of cool. So 21-14 is our halftime score here. As I think we're about 4 minutes away, 3.5 minutes away from the start of the second half, I believe. St. Genevieve, no. Park Hills will get the ball first.
Yes, they kicked off first to the Dragons, so Park Hills will receive the ball for the second half.
Things to watch out for. It looks like some things for the Dragons that are working is that jumbo package with Levi Gons and and Isaac Boyd in the backfield along with Luke Brewster. It looks like throwing out of that is working pretty effectively. You see those two tanks of guys in Isaac Boyd and Levi Gons, and you have to be expecting run. But what most people do forget is they are eligible receivers back there, along with Luke Brewster. And it looks like thrown out of that package, you've seen Dalton Giesler catch a couple balls. One got called back by a penalty, but went for about 30 yards. So thrown out of that package, definitely being effective tonight.
Yeah, and out of that package you're talking about, Levi and Isaac have the power to get through there, get that first down if they're faced with a 4th-and-1 situation or something like that. And then you have Luke Brewster back there following those two as lead blockers. That's got to make Luke feel very safe. And we even saw last week they were passing out of it. They had a little play-action pass. Everybody was expecting Levi Isaac to get the ball, fell on it, and gave it to Dalton Giesler, I believe, for an easy touchdown for the Dragons. So I wouldn't be surprised if they tried passing out of it a little more this second half too.
Yeah, another thing to watch for is if it was Brandon Henson's wrist, I believe it was his right one, his right hand wrist, or just maybe his forearm. But that could definitely have some effect on how often they throw and what kind of throws they go for this half. Usually what you'll see the Dragons do when they pass is they like to go to those short little receiver screens, or they'll do these roll right or roll left passes where you have Brandon rolling out of the pocket and hitting a receiver on a little 10-yard out, it looks like, most of the time. But every now and then you'll see him throw a deep ball. More often than not, it works.
Yeah, Central's defense has been really patient and waiting for that deep ball. Whenever they do throw it, it's been tough for the Dragons, tough for Henson to get the pass to be completed. It seems like Henson this week is being rushed a little more when he gets out of that pocket. He's been sacked, I think, 2 or 3 times now outside of the pocket, just getting rushed so easily.
Yeah, but last week it seems like the Dragons almost got punched in the mouth a little bit this week to start the game. You know, Central coming out to a 14-0 lead. I feel like the Dragons, you know, they were pretty confident. Most of the football players thought they were going to win this game coming up this week, so maybe they got a little too big-headed, especially after a blowout win over Kennett last week. I believe it was 41-14 or 41-13. But, you know, it's not the kind of game this is. You're coming into Park Hills, and Park Hills, I believe on this season so far, they're 8-1, 9-1. They've only lost 1 game. But a very good team in Park Hills, very stingy defense, very potent offense. And, you know, it's just a uphill battle here for the Dragons in the second half.
Yeah, and I was talking to some of the players this week about last week's game, and they were talking about how a lot of people didn't have them winning over Kennett, and even they said some of them thought they weren't even going to win. So not much confidence going into that game last week, but they realized what was on the line, win or go home. And they came out and played almost a flawless game last week and played just great. And this week they came in, got that punch in the mouth, as you were talking about, kind of like a wake-up call. Kind of same situation with the win or go home, just this time it's either you win with the district title and move on, or you go home with nothing.
Yeah, at this point it's either survive and advance. If you win, you know, you keep going on. If you lose, your season's over. And for, you know, seniors on both sides of the ball, it's, ever since section or district started, all 3 of these games so far have been more than likely very emotional games for them. So you got to wonder if they're thinking down there on the field, you know, is this game going to be my last?
We have 2.5 minutes left before the second half starts, as the Dragons are out there stretching in their usual circular stretching formation.
Stretching formation.
You always got to have the formation, even in stretching, even in warm-ups.
It's all about the form.
It looks like Central's on the sideline ready to go.
Yeah, and it looks like for Central what they've been doing a lot tonight, you know, a pretty balanced offense between passing and rushing the ball. But what you've seen a lot tonight is a number 12, Tyrese Welsh, getting the ball. He's a 6'2", 185-pound running back. So definitely not a small running back by any means. You know, you look at St. Jen's running back, and you have Camden Rowe and Luke Brewster and, you know, a bunch of these small speed scat backs. And it looks like Tyrese Welsh, I mean, you saw him bust about a 30, 25-yard run just right up the middle on the Dragons, just a mix of speed and power. Very hard to stop.
Yeah, and to add to that, they have their quarterback, Jace Bland, who's 6'2", 220. That is a big quarterback, so you have both of them. They've been running that read option a lot tonight, so it's kind of hard to tell who's going to get the ball. Welch has the speed and the size. Bland doesn't so much have the speed, but he has the size and the power to get through there.
Yeah, you don't see him go to that read option too often, but when they do, it's definitely effective. You know, I've seen Bland, you know, he got down to about the 7 or 8 yard line on just a little read option. You know, reading the defense is definitely the hardest part in doing that, seeing if they're going to commit to the running back or stay and contain the quarterback. Onside kick to start the half. It's probably one of the most rare things you'll see in football.
Looks like the Dragons getting out of a huddle there. Usually don't see that as often. Getting real pumped up for the start of the second half. As we have 30 seconds left, and the Dragons will come out on the field ready to kick off to the Rebels.
Trevor, just a quick little question here real quick. If you were Coach White, what would you be saying to your team in the locker room at halftime?
Man, it's just one of those things you have to tell them, just don't worry about that scoreboard. Just play your hearts out, and you just got to have that winning mindset. You just can't let anything get to you, and you just got to play your hardest, and hopefully things work out in your favor.
Yeah, definitely a very emotional game for both sides so far. You know, you saw the Dragons on that kick return fumble. You know, the whole sideline seemed like just jumped at one time. And then you saw with Park Hills, even with their fans, you know, on the first play of the game, the interception, or the third play of the game, the interception that I believe was Logan Reinhardt just tipped it up and was picked off by Park Hills. Just a lot of emotion on both sides of the ball tonight for both teams.
Yeah, I'm sure. Maybe not as much Coach White, but I'm sure Coach Sherry was getting very emotional with this team. Not many people expected this Dragons team this year to get this far and have this opportunity. They thought their line was just very inexperienced, and they've really came out and proved a lot this year. So I'm sure they were getting very emotional in there at the locker room, showing that they really do care about this game and they care about this team this year.
Looks like Dunsey with a little pooch kick will be fielded by Haney, still on his feet, and he will be downed at about the 35, it looks like.
Looked like number 51, C.J. Byer, and number 3, Gabe Grimminger on the tackle.
So now Park Hill is going to take over on offense, and like I said, a very well-balanced offense between pass and the rush. You know, they have a big quarterback in Tyrese Welsh and also a big quarterback in Jace Bland. So we'll see what they do here. Looks like they're going with a it's almost like a triple option. Dragons aren't biting on that fake, though. They snuffed that one out for no gain.
The 2nd and 10 for the Rebels.
The Dragons' defensive line really getting through the line tonight. You know, not too many. They're not like they're just a massive line. They're just getting through there. And a pass from Bland.
Bland looking deep.
Wide open.
Has a man wide open. Blake Moore is there to finish it off and get the tackle.
Touchdown saving tackle by Blake Moore there.
That was a big play by Moore. As the pass was completed at number 30, Tanner Smith.
It was a big gain for Park Hills. Definitely what they wanted.
Not something you want to see as a Dragon fan to start off the second half.
Oh, no, definitely not. So now it looks like the Rebels will have the ball on about the 11 or 12 yard line of the Dragons.
And they hand it off up the middle. And the Dragons will take them down. Looks like a gain of about 5 on the play. 5 or 6.
Sorry, I'm just looking at stats here, and some of these stats are pretty impressive.
Was a gain of 5 on the last play. It'll be 2nd and 5 for the Rebels.
7 yard line. Jumbo package, number 38. He's going to power his way into the end zone. Just runs over Brandon Henson, and it will be 27-14 Park Hills.
Touchdown ran in by number 38, Jake Glenn for the Rebels.
That's some power running there by the Rebels. And Jake Glenn just lowered his head and ran right over whoever was going to be in his way. So pending the extra point here, the Central Rebels will go up by 2 touchdowns.
Ooh,
Oh,
and
almost blocked.
almost got there.
There's
Looked
Levi
like
Gons back there almost getting the block. 28-14, and looks like the Dragons, just like in the first half, coming out a little slow here.
Yeah, I mean, in the first half, they started out slow. We're down by 2 touchdowns, and they scored and then got that turnover. So hopefully we see something that spectacular happen again.
But, I mean, the Dragons are a tough team. You know, usually that's something they've been consistent with all years, those slow starts. You know, again, they've had a couple quick starts, you know, out against Valley in the first game against Fredericktown, you know, the Valley game. You know, I'm pretty sure just about everyone in the town's heard of Luke Brewster's touchdown return. The opening kickoff against Valley just kind of punched Valley in the mouth. The rest of the game, not really going to talk about that. But and then that Fredericktown game, the first one, that was just slaughtered by rain delays. You know, the Dragons were up 21-0 before the first quarter even ended. But those were about the 2 quickest starts they've had to games this year. That was all the way back in, I believe, week 2 and week 3. Or week 2 and week 4.
And the Rebels kickoff. Looks like they're going to try keeping it out of Brewster's hands once again off to Reinhardt. Reinhardt cuts up the middle and is tripped up.
Looks like he'll get out to about the 31 or 32 there. Like you said, trying to keep the ball away from Brewster. Definitely a dangerous return man.
We have 10 minutes and 20 seconds left in the third quarter. It is 28-14 if you are just now joining us. B. Henson gets the snap. Hands off to Brewster.
It's about like a 3-yard gain there by Brewster.
Yeah, it looks about 3 yards.
Lots of whistles blowing down there.
I was just about to say the same thing. Oh, looks like somebody for the Rebels is limping off to the sideline.
I believe that's one of their starting tackles, Kyle Halter. Apologize if I butcher that name. Man, some of these names are just hard to pronounce. Man, I tell you, I was doing the Lutheran South game. My goodness. Fun game to watch, not a fun game to announce. So Levi Gons will be on the run there. It'll be another 4-yard gain. 3rd and 2 here for the Dragons.
As they're in the Biggie formation once again, I'm sure Central is thinking run on this play.
3rd and short. Oh.
Looks like a little bit of movement by the Rebels. They hand off to Brewster.
Brewster stopped short.
Stood up. He'll be close. It may be not even a yard before they get that first down.
If you're the Dragons, you got to imagine going for it here. Not terrible field position, but you're down by 2 scores, and it's 4th and inches here. You know, even if it's just a quarterback sneak here by Henson, you got to imagine they're going for it. Yeah, that's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, this is tough.
Unless this is one funky punt formation. Hand it. They will get the first down. Looks like that was a little Levi Gons again on the run.
Great job by Levi.
He's had the ball in his hand quite a few times tonight. Lots of those fullback dives run by the Dragons.
Yeah, you saw that a lot last week. If you watched the game against Kennett, they gave the ball a lot to Levi last week, and he did a great job running the ball. Had a pretty big gain early on in the game, and then they started giving it to Isaac Boyd a little more. And he did a great job running as well as they pitch it to Brewster.
Brewster trying to get the edge.
Gets to the
inside.
A hole. And that will be another first down for the Dragons. Great run by Brewster.
10-yard run by Brewster, who also has 2 scores on the game. It's been quite a bit of action at running back for the Dragons all season this year. You know, you had Camden Rowe who began the season as the starter. And then Luke Brewster just kind of wedged his way. He started as a receiver, just kind of wedged his way into that halfback position.
As you see now, it looks like Brewster did not get the first down, just short of it. It's the 2nd and not even a yard for the Dragons as they hand it off to Levi Gons. And it looks like a fumble on the field.
I think he was down.
And it will be Central ball.
I thought he was down.
I thought he was
was
too.
well down.
Not something that you want to see from the Dragons. I actually think that might be the first fumble from one of those big guys running the ball.
Cool. I can confirm that. Let's see here. That's passing. Here's rushing. Yeah. That's only, yeah. I think so.
That's pretty impressive, even though it's not really what we needed in this game, but it's impressive that they haven't fumbled the ball yet as many times as they've gotten it and not used to running.
They're going to run. That'll be about a 7-yard gain there for number 28. That is Ethan Branch, I believe. Got about 8 minutes here to go in the third quarter, but I'd say one more score here by the Rebels and the Dragons are in some real trouble.
Yeah, that's one of those situations where you just got to chip away. You can't do it all at once. You just got to fight hard and chip away one touchdown at a time.
Motion.
Hand it
Hand
off
off
up
to the
middle.
fullback to Branch. It looks like if he didn't get the first down, he got very close to it.
And they will give it to him, it looks like. Yep.
Now Branch will come off. Number 30, Tanner Smith, who caught a big pass in the first quarter, will come in. These Rebels, you know, very patient offense, almost a pro-style offense you're seeing from them tonight. You know, very patient. They usually go 2 backs in the backfield and split receivers. Another handoff to Welsh.
And he is stopped.
It's Isaac Boyd on the tackle.
Gains about 3 on the play, it looks like.
See what how the Dragons respond to another turnover here. I believe that's our 3rd turnover of the night. So Welsh in the backfield, Bland under center, and Smith also in the backfield. No motion this time, though. Hand it off to Welsh. Welsh with a hole, looks like about a 5-yard gain. Set up about a 3rd and 2 or a 3rd and 1 here for the Rebels.
And the Dragons will need a big stop in this defensive drive.
3rd and 2 for the Rebels. Looks like they're going to counter with their own jumbo package here. You saw Branch, Smith, Welsh. Looks like Welsh is favoring that left arm down here on the sideline. Yeah, they're going to go 2 fullbacks. They're going to give it to one of them. Still on his feet. Trying to get to the sideline, still on his feet. Forced out of bounds by Gabe Grimminger. Number 38, Jake Glenn, scored on the last drive, getting down to about the 14-yard line, it looks like. 13.5, 14-yard line.
And Jake Glenn, only a junior, 5'10", 185. They have him listed as a tight end and a running back. That is a big kid. Not so much in height, but in weight, that's pretty big.
He looks like he's pretty muscular, too. He doesn't look like he's small by any means. That'll get him inside the 10. Not sure who ran the ball there. Might have been Glenn again. Yes, it was. And Dragons in a bit of trouble here. About halfway through the 3rd quarter.
5 minutes, 45 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Rebels still up by 2 touchdowns. The clock is winding still.
Oh, side bomb, not Glenn. We'll get down to the 2-yard line, it looks like. That will move the chains. Now 1st and goal here for the Rebels.
Defense really got to make some big stops right here, or else it's going to be a 3-touchdown lead.
Give it to Glenn. Looks like he is stuffed short of the line. Oh, and a fumble.
Maybe a fumble.
Yes, and the Dragons recover the ball. So just as you were saying, defense needs to make something happen. They sure do.
Big break for the Dragons, although They aren't in very good territory right now. This is very dangerous where they are.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to guess you're going to see a lot of fullback dives here from either Gons or Boyd.
Yeah, this is a big safety possibility for the Rebels.
Still would only be a 2-possession game. With the safety, though, it would be 30-14. That would be really convenient if they had like a smaller scoreboard over on this side to where we could just see it in plain sight.
Yeah, it's very hard for us to see the scoreboard tonight as they hand it off to Brewster.
Gets out to about the 5. So a 3-yard gain there for the Dragons. A little bit better position.
It
but
gives them a little bit more cushion.
they still got to go 95 yards to get in the end zone.
Yeah, it's going to be a very long drive if they want to score.
I'm going to call it 95-yard touchdown run right here.
Really, let's see if it happens. Hopefully it does.
Hopefully. Calling it right here, right now. Predicting the future. Ready? Here it comes.
Hand off to Brewster. Cuts it to the inside.
You know what? He was close.
He was close. Gained about 2 on the play.
93 more to go. Did I say 95? I meant 2. I meant 2 yards, not 95.
You were close.
I was close. 93 off. I was like halfway there. Be about a 3rd and 5 here for the Dragons.
Clock winding down at 4:08 left in the third quarter.
Hand off to Brewster.
Up the middle. Did he get the first down? I think he did.
Looks like that first down marker is at about the 12. Looks like he got to about the 13 or 14 there.
Great play call those last couple of plays. Really getting the ball moving, getting out of that danger zone a little more.
Yeah, it just gives them a little more comfort room. Maybe drop back and see a pass here. This would be the time to do it. After running the ball, you know, you're past, even when they had the ball in their last possession, they're past 7 or 8 plays, it seems like.
And they give it to Gons once again. Gets about 5 on the play. So it'll be 2nd and 5 for the Dragons. And there is a flag.
It was a late flag. Face mask.
Face mask, that's always good.
It'll be a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down for the Dragons here, I believe. 2, 3, 4, 5.
Face mask, I believe, is what, 10 yards?
15.
15.
Yeah, I believe that was a rule that changed a few years ago. Well, at least on the college and NFL levels, all face masks, sometimes you'd see 5 yards, sometimes you see 15 yard, but got changed to always being 15 yards now.
Hinson gets a snap, pitch to Brewster, cuts
Brewster's
it
got the
outside.
outside.
Cuts back inside. Gain of about 3 on the play.
Brewster with a lot of runs, but his average on his runs, you know, he's got to imagine only about 4 or 5 yards, which isn't terrible, but definitely could be better from what we know and what we've seen from Luke Brewster.
Yeah, the Rebel defense is really doing a great job of containing Brewster this game. He has had some couple breakthroughs to get through and get a couple more yards than what he's used to, but for the most part, he's been getting stopped.
Yeah, and there's a flag. They're going to get him for a horse collar on that, I believe.
He got thrown down pretty hard.
Yeah, it looked like from his neck pad there.
And who knows if the Dragons can get back into this game.
They're going to get him on a face mask again.
This might come down to whoever makes the least amount of mistakes. And right now it looks like the Rebels have quite a few more penalties than the Dragons do this game.
So that'll be a 15-yard penalty. Or no, it looks like they'll put him at spot of the foul. An automatic first down, though, so that'll move the chains for the Dragons and a fresh set of downs here. Again, out of that jumbo package. Brewster with a hole, tries to spin out of a tackle, still on his feet. That'll be about a 5-yard gain here for Brewster. So 2nd and 5 from midfield.
Oh,
they're going to give him quite a few.
Give him a great spot where that ball is.
It'll be about 2nd and 4 from the Rebel 48-yard line. Again, out of this,
Man. They are going to throw a flag. Looks like Central is, or they're going to call it on the Dragons.
Yeah, Central jumped, and then someone in the back, or in looks like safety number 2, Will Hopkins, jumped for the Rebels, and then everyone on that Rebel defense popped up, and they got someone on St. John's line to jump. So 5-yard penalty. It'll be 2nd and 9 here. So Brewster's looks like 5-yard run turned about 7-yard run. It's gonna, most of it's gonna come right back.
2 minutes left. Clock winding down. They hand it off to Brewster.
Brewster's
Brewster cutting
got
up the
a
middle.
hole. He's gonna get close to that first down marker to a 3rd and manageable here for the Dragons.
Good game by Brewster.
There's great blocking there by the offensive line. It looks like they just wanted him to go right in between that right guard and the right tackle, and that's exactly what he did. It looked like a pretty big hole there opened up. And it looks like he got about 7 or 8 yards out of it. So 3rd and 1 here for the Dragons from the Rebel 41-yard line. Ooh, some early movement. But looks like Gons is not going to get it, but you have to imagine Dragons are going to go for this one. With about 1:19 to go here. It'll be about fourth and inches for the Dragons here. 28-14 our score. Central Rebels in control. I'll give it to Brewster. Brewster got it.
Gets the first down. Great spin by Brewster.
Yeah, definitely a good way. And it looks like Daniel Vaith, that ankle. He's going to stay in the game, though, it looks like.
This is one of those moments, Daniel being a senior. That ankle's hurting, but this could be his last game, so I'm sure he's wanting to stay in there just as bad as those coaches are wanting him to stay in there.
Yeah, definitely a key part of this offensive line. You've seen the Dragons line struggle all year when he's not in there. Brewster on the pitch, tripped up by number 6. Great tackle there by number 6. That's Luke Mannion. So it'll be about a 1-yard gain there. 2nd and 9 here for the Dragons. Oh, man. And it looks like they'll back him up, and they'll go 2nd and 10 here. It looks like originally they had the stick at about just a yard in front.
Get it off to Brewster again. Taken down. Gain of about 3 on the play. Maybe not even that.
And that'll be the end of the 3rd quarter. The Rebels doubling up on the Dragons, 28-14 here and going into the 4th quarter. This is going to be a big quarter for the Dragons. This is going to decide their season. Win the quarter, you got to score at least twice to win this game and hold the Rebels to nothing, basically.
I mean, you just wonder what those coaches are telling these players now. This could be their last quarter they ever play of high school football. So I'm sure it's once again getting emotional for them. I'm sure they're getting fired up, wanting this game bad, really wanting to come back and chip away at the Rebels.
Yeah, the Dragons, one thing this team prides themselves on is senior leadership. You have guys like Dalton Giesler and Levi Gons, Brandon Henson, Blake Moore. All these guys, have been leaders for so long, not just football, but, in the school community and their other sports. They've just been, they earn that captain title that is given to them at the beginning of the season.
As the Dragons come back out.
3rd and 10. What? Are those chains set up right? Because I thought it was like 3rd and inches. Or 4th and inches.
I thought it was closer than that. Maybe he just...
I don't know. Maybe they got a penalty going or something. I don't know. And timeout, maybe? Questionable.
I don't know what that's all about.
Yeah, I don't know what the timeout there is for. You just had about a 1.5-minute long break to talk about whatever you wanted. So that could definitely end up being a factor for the Dragons. That timeout taken right here only leaves them with 2. And down by 2 scores, you definitely want all the timeouts you can get.
So without even starting the fourth quarter yet, coming out of the huddle at the end of the third quarter, the Dragons already take the timeout.
Down by 2 scores here against this this great Park Hills defense. Ooh, man.
Refs getting things moving a little bit.
My neck is stiff. Dragons will take the field. And it looks like Daniel Vaith is no longer in the game. Oh, there he is.
He's on the end there.
Yeah. Hand off to Brewster. Brewster stood up, but he's still on his feet. Looks like Giesler pushed him forward there a little bit, but not enough to get the first down there. Well, 4th and 5 here for the Dragons. And I don't see them punting the ball from the 38-yard line.
No, I don't see that. There's a reason to.
Henson under center and jumbo package. And handoff to Brewster. Swallowed up, and Park Hills will take the ball back over. No blocking there from the Dragons offensive line.
They got right through that offensive line, right to Brewster. That is not something you need from your line this late in the game.
This is when you need that offensive line to step up. They've been kind of soft all game. But hopefully that turns around here soon. Definitely need a defensive stop here if you're the Dragons.
Yeah, now you need to rely on the defense, and these Central Rebels really been moving the ball well tonight. Had a couple turnovers tonight. Just had one last quarter right up on the end zone and turned it over with a fumble.
Rebels hand off to Welsh. Trips over his own lineman.
Gain of a couple yards. Looks like 3. Be 2nd and 7 for the Rebels.
St. John Faithful really showed up tonight. People lining the fences and just packing those visitors' bleachers over there on the far side.
Yeah, that's what Waylon was saying earlier. Waylon was talking about how our fans come out and giving great support to the football program tonight.
Oh, man. He's got the wrong guy.
And he should have the first down.
Yeah, that's going to be a first down, but not a great read there by Isaac Boyd.
Depends where they spot the ball.
I think he thought Welsh had the ball the whole time, and he was trying to sling him down to the ground, but never had the ball.
It looks like he will be just short of the first down.
So 3rd and 1. If you're the Dragons defense here, you got to be almost head hunting for the ball here. Just trying to pop it out, get an interception, get your helmet on the ball, and just find some way. Oh, and that's going to be a first down. It looks like both defensive tackles there. It looks like Boyd for sure, and I don't know if that was either Gons or Hahn that both jumped.
You didn't see much of that last week. You saw that earlier in the year from the Dragons, a lot of jumping from their line. So hopefully that's not coming back to them now in this game.
Dragons defense is relatively young. You have the whole offense or the whole defensive line is coming back next year. It looks like Welsh. Oh, no, that is number 18, Sidebottom, Evan Sidebottom, a sophomore, will get about a 9-yard gain. But as I was saying, this whole defensive line for the Dragons, you have Logan Schwint, who's a junior, Isaac Boyd, who's a sophomore, and then Wade Hahn and Drew Toombs are both juniors. So this whole defensive line, as scary as they are now, they're going to be back next year too.
Yeah, you're right. They do really have a young defensive line, offensive line.
On the offensive line, you have Austin Karen, you have Nick Robinson, you have Brandon Drury, 3 people that have – Brandon Drury's been a consistent starter, and then you'll see Austin Karen and Nick Robinson in there every now and then. Both of them have gotten starts on the season. So 3 of the 5 offensive linemen that get rotated in and out of there are coming back next year as well. And even Xavier Boyd, you see him in there sometimes, so that's 4. you know, a big thing for the Dragons next year is going to be replacing that secondary and those linebackers. You know, 2 leading tacklers, Levi Gons and Dalton Giesler, are both going to be gone next year. You have Brandon Henson, a great safety and quarterback, who's going to be gone next year. Logan Reinhardt, a shutdown corner. And Blake Moore, another shutdown corner, all going to be gone next year. So definitely some replacement needs to be done. Looks like she's going to get there.
And Grimminger is there
Great
to
tackle.
stop him. Yeah, you're saying about Henson. Henson, quarterback and safety. I believe that Henson's more of a role on defense as that safety. He's really the play caller, changes a lot of things up on defense. He's done that since last year. And with Wyatt going down, he's had to step up at quarterback, so he's had to do both things this year. And he's done a great job at them. So the Dragons are really going to miss him next year.
You know, but you also have people like Chad Dunsey, Drew Toombs, who have played. It seemed, from what I've heard, most of the time they've split time at JV on quarterback. You know, Chad being the starter, and you see Drew come in every now and then. I know they split time during the Valley game back in week 2, but we'll see how the quarterback situation plays out next year. Welsh, big hit by Isaac Boyd.
And he is pumped up.
And play before got called back for holding, so that was about a 1st and 15. Now it'll be about a 2nd and 13 here for the Rebels in Dragon territory. And they're just running the ball, trying to chew some clock and stall it out a little bit. So we got about 8.5 minutes here to go in the final quarter. Rebels will line up. 2 in the backfield. Looks like Welsh and number 28, I believe that's Ethan Branch. And another run. There's Ethan Branch there. Gets about a 3-yard gain. So 3rd and 9 here for the Rebels now.
Just got past 8 minutes left in the game. Clock's still winding down. Dragons down by 2 touchdowns.
Daniel Vaith is going to have to hobble off the field. Luckily, he'll have time. It looks like Park Hill's also bringing in some subs. And he can't even really walk on that anymore. I don't think we'll see him coming back.
As we've got Central in shotgun. Bland gets the snap, takes it himself.
Jukes out Reinhardt, but he has stopped well short of the first down, so it'll be about a 4th and 5 here for the Rebels. You got to imagine this deep, they're going to go for it and try and get the dagger and put this game away.
Yeah, score here might be the game. So the clock is winding down, getting close to 7 minutes left.
On the 30-yard line, I don't know what Rebels' kicker situation is, but I don't think there's a high school kicker in the area that can kick a 47-yard field goal. I'd be shocked if I saw that.
Yeah, that would be very impressive.
There's some college kickers can't even kick a 47-yard field goal.
And they hand it off to Welch.
Welsh, it's going to be close.
It's taken out of bounds.
They get him. That's going to be very close. They forced him out of bounds.
I don't think he got there.
Dragons defense saying it's theirs. The Rebels offense seems very frustrated, and the Dragons will get the ball, it looks like. So a little bit of hope here for the Dragons with about, I think, 8 minutes left. 6:40 left in the 4th quarter. They got to get downfield quick and get a defensive stop and get down the field quick again if they want any chance in this game.
And it looks like Daniel Vaith is back out there. He's hobbling around. Still in that biggie formation by the Dragons.
They're running the ball. I'm not really sure why. You need to get downfield here. Coach Harry, this was another thing that happened in this last Park Hills game. He called, I believe St. Jan was on about the Park Hills 20-yard line with about 10 seconds to go. Or not even 10 seconds, about a minute and a half to go. And he called a double reverse pass, down by a point. I know he got a lot of, students and parents and, even some of his players, asking why of all things you could have called, was that it? But it looks like Brewster there is going to get close to the first down marker. It will be about 3rd and 1 here.
As he went out of bounds, 6:03 left in the game.
Smart play to get out of bounds there by Brewster. I believe that stops the clock.
Yeah, you usually see Brewster cut it outside, but then cut it right back up again. And that time he stayed outside, trying to get to that out of bounds, stop the clock, and give him a little more time.
So it'll be about 3rd and 3 here for the Dragons. Still in that jumbo package. Henson
Hands off to Brewster again, cuts it up.
gets first down
And taken out of
forced out of
bounds.
bounds. Oh. They took him down well out of bounds there, but no flag is thrown. So first down for the Dragons. It'll move the chains on their own 39-yard line. Oh, man. Tired. So glad school week's over.
This has been a pretty long game tonight.
Run streams at about 2 hours and 9 minutes. Henson
Henson
rolls
looking to
back.
pass.
Oh, a little bit of a duck. Oh, almost picked off. And Henson got crushed, it looks like, as he threw it. He is down. He is in some obvious pain, very slow to get up. And he is staying down. He is holding that shoulder. Maybe even the arm. So you'll see more than likely Chad Dunsey come on here. Sophomore, not really much varsity time. His varsity stats this year, minimal if he has any. Yeah, he's came in 7 games. He's 0 for 5 passing wise.
Looks like Henson's holding that left shoulder. I believe that's the same shoulder that bothered him last season that he injured, I believe, in the game against Central last year also. So hopefully he didn't re-injure that shoulder or something. But he will be going off the field.
And Chad Dunsey will come on the field.
.550 left in the game.
They just said he's listed at 5'1" because there's a typo on the roster. Chad's actually about 6'1", 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah, I'd say around there. 5'1" quarterback.
Hands it off to Brewster. Brewster is pushed back, and someone else is down. And a fumble. That might ice the game.
And it looks like it will be the Rebels' ball.
Looks like Blake Moore's favoring one of his arms now.
That is not something you wanted to see happen to the Dragons this late in the game.
No, definitely not. Score here by Park Hills. Might as well. It's pretty much going to ice the game for them here. He's going to clinch this division championship.
Yeah, even if the Dragons make a stop here, it's going to be very tough to get 2 scores. You're going to have to score, onside kick it, get the ball back, and score once again just to tie the game. That's very tough against these Central Rebels.
Looks like Central had about 15 men in the huddle there. And play clock down to 12. Still got to call the play and line up. Down to 8. They're hustling up there to line. Don't want that delay game penalty. Down to 4. They get it off. Handoff. Tripped up at the line, but that will keep the clock moving.
Looked like it was Levi Gons who tripped Welch up.
Down to 5:30 left in the game. Looks like some people from the St. John side are starting to leave. Maybe trying to beat traffic. Park Hills will line up. 13 left on the play clock. Bland standing up, sets his line down, hands it off. And
a
fumble. That is bounced on by the Dragons.
And just like that, it's Dragons' ball once again.
Bit of butterfingers for both teams here. Lots of fumbles tonight. Very sloppy played.
5 minutes left in the game. Dragons' ball.
They got to go.
Got a lot of work to do.
90 yards with a backup quarterback here. Yeah, and it looks like Chad will come onto the field trying to lead a 90-yard drive here, and then he'll have to do it again if the Dragons want any chance at winning this game. A lot of pressure on Chad here.
I mean, it's kind of hard to run the ball at this time. Kind of
Oh,
want to
yeah.
see a little more passing, but that's hard to do whenever someone like Chad doesn't have as much experience with passing as Henson does.
And Brewster cuts it back wide open.
And it is stripped and taken away
Fumbled
by
again.
the Rebels. Looks like they just took it right out of Brewster's hands as he tried trucking him.
3 straight plays and 3 straight fumbles.
Wow. That is not something you see every day. Brewster, though, cutting back and going all the way back across the field. That's pretty risky, and it almost paid off for him.
He almost busted one loose there.
Fortunately, just couldn't get it.
So Park Hills will take back over on the Dragons' 16-yard line. And it looks like that Dragons crowd is pretty deflated.
Yeah, you don't see much movement over there anymore, as you did earlier in the game.
They will hand off. He will get in the end zone.
Yeah, that will be
That is
a
number
Rebel
29,
touchdown.
Tristan Campbell. And that will put the Rebels up by 20, pending the extra point. And that's just going to about do it. Just fumbles and turnovers were the key killer for the Dragons here.
Yeah, this fourth quarter, they've really had a lot of that, as you're saying. That's just something you can't have as a football team. Playing against the Rebels like this, it's a tough team. You almost got to play like they did last week.
Right.
And
Oh,
it's
it's blocked. So 20-point lead here, 3-possession game. Dragons going to have to get down the field quick, and I would be shocked if they decide to run the ball at all for the rest of this quarter, with the fumbles and, just the fact that they got to score 3 times in about a 4.5-minute long span. Yeah, 4:42 left in the game.
If they pull this off, it will be the greatest high school comeback
Yeah.
to ever happen.
They will send Brewster and Reinhardt back to return the kick.
In this kind of situation, you want Brewster to have the ball in his hands, returning this, but I'm sure they'll keep it out of there. Send it back to Reinhardt or even somebody up further.
And Brewster, he's been sure-handed all year, but I believe he has 3 fumbles tonight. Coming into this game, he didn't have a single fumble while running the ball. But tonight he has 3. Number 10, Garrett Winkler, Winkler, the kicker, coming on. He doesn't get a very long approach, but, he still boots the ball back to about the 10-yard line. Just makes you wonder how far he could kick it if he got a little bit more of an approach. Oh. I would have let that gone out of bounds, because if that goes out of bounds, you're getting the ball at the 40-yard line.
Yeah.
Not a smart choice there by, that was number 40, Camden Rowe. Tried to dive after it. So now this Dragons offense will come back on. You see Dalton Giesler coming back onto the field, limping a little. Chad Dunsey will be at the helm. Dragons got to go a long way. Not just on this drive, but if they get the ball again after this. So you got to imagine a score here. You're going onside kick. Yeah, empty backfield. No way they're running the ball here.
Dunsey rolls out to his left, looking to pass perfect. Looked
Had
very
a
good spiral.
tight spiral, just off the mark a little. You got to imagine nerves are a little bit of a thing here for Chad. One of his first ever varsity games, and he's playing in the district championship.
Yeah, that's very stressful and got a lot of pressure on you if you're playing in that kind of situation. But it looks like Chad's handling it all right so far. Yep.
And empty backfield here again for the Dragons.
About 4.5 minutes left.
Looks like Daniel Vaith having a lot of trouble blocking.
Over to Giesler.
Breaks a tackle. Will be about a 3-yard gain there, and the clock will continue to run. Down to about 4:19 here. 34-14, Rebels in control. Brewster in the backfield. Reinhardt out to your right.
Looked like Dunsey might have faked the wrong way before he gave it to Brewster. Brewster gains a couple yards.
And clock will continue to run.
Dunsey back there with Brewster again.
4th and about 4 here for the Dragons, and false start. This is Daniel Vaith will be called, so that'll back him up. About 4th and 9. I believe these two teams played in the district championship last year. I wasn't here at the time, but I'm sure Trevor can tell you a little bit about that.
Yeah, hard-fought game. Central kind of came out and just gave it to the Dragons a little bit. Dragons had a very good team last year. Their line was very big, very experienced, as I think all of them were seniors. And Central just kind of came out and wanted it a little more than the Dragons, but it was still a good game overall.
Dragons will drop back over to Brewster, trips, and that's going to be the killer for the Dragons, another turnover. This one a turnover on downs as the Rebels will take over inside the 20. Got about 3 minutes left in the ball game here. Dragons with 2 timeouts, Rebels with 3. You can't imagine the Rebels calling any of them, though.
Yeah, at this point, the Rebels just trying to take time off the clock.
Yeah, just stay in bounds and take time off. Hand it off to Welsh.
And Welch
He's
might be in there for
and a
another
flag.
touchdown, but there is a flag.
And we'll see what the penalty is here for. Maybe a block in the back. Welsh not happy. Yeah, that's exactly what it's going to be, a block in the back. Can't do that, so that's going to back the Rebels up. It'll be a replay of first down here. About a 1st and 6 instead of a touchdown here. 1st and 7, 1st and 6 instead of a touchdown here. Rebels will back up. Looks like 3 running backs. Hand it off to Welsh again. Welsh puts his head down and runs, breaks a tackle, breaks another tackle, stretches out, and that is a touchdown.
You got to give Welch props on that one. That was a great run by him to power his way through there and keep his feet pumping and get in there for a Rebel touchdown.
40-14 now, Rebels in control. And this game's just about done. As I believe this is Park Hill's athletic director next to us, starting to break out the 1st and 2nd place plaques. They go for 2.
And they get it.
42-14. Gotta imagine that's not going to sit well with St. Genevieve. Going for 2 while you're up this big. This little time left. Maybe just a final statement, just trying to up the score a little bit and make whoever they go on to play in sectionals just a little more intimidated. I'm not sure who they'd go on to play in sectionals, though.
I did know earlier, but I forgot who it would be.
Well, Trevor, you're in charge of taking all the equipment with you, so have fun
Gotta
with
take
that.
all the equipment.
Me and Waylon got to peace out because we're riding the pep bus home. So this is all you, buddy.
That's great.
Sorry to break it to you. So now the Rebels will line up to kick. I believe we're going to have about 2:50 left. Yeah, 2:56 left in the ball game. Looks like Luke Brewster is out of the game. Dalton Giesler now back to return deep with Logan Reinhardt. But a squibbed kick picked up by Rowe. Rowe is tackled at about the 37-yard line. Oh, man. So 1st and 10 for the Dragons here.
2:50 left.
42-14 the score, and it looks like Dakota Evers will enter the game. And Camden Rowe in the backfield. Also, it looks like Xavier Boyd in at center. And Rowe slung down. No blocking there by the offensive line. So the Dragons facing about a 2nd and 13 here. Dunsey in the gun with Rowe to his right. You have Reinhardt as a receiver, and I believe that is Moore over there on the left side as a receiver.
Dunsey hits Reinhardt, who can't come down with it.
That'll be a drop for Reinhardt. It was a beautifully delivered ball there by Dunsey, just Reinhardt couldn't hold on to it.
We have 2 minutes left in this game.
This will be a 3rd and 13 here. Same formation as before for the Dragons. Dunsey takes the snap.
Dunsey throwing deep.
No one there. It looks like he undershot his receiver, number 21, Logan Reinhardt, a little bit. Really in like in the middle of a triangle of 3 receivers, and Giesler, Greminger, and Reinhardt. So now it'll be 4th and 13. It's about a minute 56 to go in the game. This 4th quarter has really lasted a long time.
Yes, it has. It's been a lot of with the clock being stopped.
Yeah, just stopping and starting with every turnover, the clock stops. With every incomplete pass, the clock stops. Every score, the clock stops. Lots of that this quarter. So Dunsey takes the snap, rolls out to his left. Delivers a strike just over Greminger's head, nearly picked off by number 2, Will Hopkins. And Will Hopkins has been all over tonight, making tackles. I believe he forced a fumble earlier, almost getting a few interceptions. So that will be another turnover for the Dragons. And Park Hills, you have to imagine, probably just going to take a few knees here.
Yeah, a minute 50 left. Park Hills might run 1 or 2 times, get that clock just down a little bit more, and then I would assume take the knee and finish this game.
One more first down, and this game is locked up for the Rebels. Has been since they scored the last touchdown in my mind, but looks like they will come out with some of the second teamers. Number 1, Tyler Murray, listed at 5'5".
Looks like he is a sophomore.
Brady Boyer with the tackle as St. John looks like will come out with their second team defense, or the defensive line. Looks like Tyler Arnold, number 51, CJ Byer, Dakota Evers, and Kegan Pinkley as the clock dwindles down to about 1:13 left here. I don't think anyone's going to be in the mood for an interview after the game, so that probably won't happen. It's number 54, Levi Gons there. Bit of a frustration tackle. It's exploded right through that line.
The clock is winding down to 45 seconds and still going. I assume Rebels just gonna let the play clock go down as much as they can.
Looks like the game clock will get down to about 27 seconds before they have to snap the ball here. Play clock down to 3. He'll take the snap, hand it off. Cuts to the outside. Big hit there by number 3, Gabe Grimminger, and that is, I believe that's going to do it for us here. As yes, the game clock is lower than the play clock. So the Park Hills Central Rebels, for the second year in a row that I know of at least, win district championships over the St. Genevieve Dragons. Dragons finished the year at 7-5. Park Hills continues their record of either 9-1 or 10-1, I believe.
Yeah, it's something like that. And that should do it for us here tonight.
Yeah, we're not going to have any interviews or anything like that, but we're going to wrap it up pretty quick here, actually right now. But I'm Troy Johnson here with Trevor Drury saying good night, St. Genevieve.
Good night.